Hey Bobcats, happy Wednesday. Guess what? You only have 3 more days of school until summertime. So I thought I'd read a little summertime treat to you. This is called Camping Spree with Mr. Magee. I know a lot of you out there like to camp and fish. Sophia and Connor, I saw some nice fish that you caught with your mom and dad recently. Good job. Alright, hope you enjoy the story. A Camping Spree with Mr. Magee by Chris Van Dusen. Early one morning at 7:03, Mr. Magee and his little dog Dee packed up the camper and hitched up the load, hopped in the Rambler, and then hit the road. They drove to the mountains far from the sea for 2 nights of camping, or possibly 3. There's nothing like camping, said Mr. Magee. I know you'll love it. You just wait and see. The views are fantastic. There's hardly a sound. Aside from the wildlife, there's no one around. And the air is so sweet, you'll sleep like a log, said Mr. Magee to his small spotted dog. A few hours later, they took a sharp right and found a great spot to lay camp for the night. It was high on a hill with a beautiful view of Mount Adams, Mount Lincoln, and Jefferson too. But perhaps the most wonderful feature of all was the brook that ran over a steep waterfall. Dee gathered pine cones and branches and logs. Magee made a campfire and cooked some hot dogs. And as the sun set behind the distant knolls, they sat roasting marshmallows over the coals. That looks lovely. As the embers went out, they felt tired and dozy, so they climbed in their bunk beds all comfy and cozy. But while they were falling asleep without a care, along came a stumbling, bumbling bear, a kindly old bear whose sight wasn't so clear. He couldn't see far, and he couldn't see near, but he could smell marshmallows, sticky and sweet. The smell made him hungry. He wanted a treat. Watch out for those bears in the woods. He sniffed out the place where the marshmallows lay, but the ear and the camper were in. But the car and the camper were in the bear's way. Yet that didn't stop the sneaky old snitch. He simply tried squeezing right under the hitch, and he was shivering into the gap. He pushed up the hitch, which let go with a snap. Now the camper and the car untied. They started to roll down the rocky hillside. The car bounced away down the old logging road, while the camper was heading to where the stream flowed. It flew down the hill on a wild, bumpy ride, with Dee and Magee sleeping soundly inside. They were snoring and snoozing, enjoying a dream, when splash went the camper right into the stream. Yikes, we know what's in the stream. A waterfall. The splash shook the camper. They bumped out of bed. Now what in the world was that, Magee said. And when he looked up and saw where they were, his hair stood on end, and so did Dee's fur. They were caught in the rapids, but that wasn't all. They were headed smack dab for the big waterfall. Dee and Magee both started to quiver, and faster they headed downriver. But just when they thought they'd fall over the edge, see something? Their camper got stuck on the rock at the ledge. So they were stranded, Magee and his pup, on the top of a waterfall 50 feet up. Yikesies. Meanwhile, that nearsighted bear from before was searching for one more marshmallow more, when lo and behold, as if out of a dream, he spied something sweet floating over the stream. But what the bear thought was a marshmallow treat was really in a hitch, not something sweet to eat. Looks like a marshmallow to the bear. The bear was determined to capture his prize, so he jumped in the water right up to his thighs. He splashed through the stream to the edge of the fall and snatched at the trail of hitch, camper, and all. Dee felt the tug. Magee heard a knock as the bear pulled the camper right off the rock. He dragged them both all the way back to the bank when he realized the hitch was not even sweet, but quite rank. He spit out the hitch and left in dismay while Magee and Dee's camper again rolled away. It flew down the path with a jolt and a jar. and stopped in some bushes right next to the car. Whew. Dee popped out his head, and Magee looked out too. Had they really stopped rolling? Could it be true? At last things were quiet and peaceful and still. They hooked up the hitch and drove off down the hill. And on the way home, Magee said to Dee, "That trip wasn't quite like I thought it would be." So when they got home with the sky turning red, they decided to camp in the backyard instead. Oh, I'm going to do that this summer. Okay, Bobcats, I hope you enjoyed the story. Maybe you get to camp in the backyard or out in the woods this summer. I know I'm going to give that a shot too. What do you think, Daisy? Sound good? All right, go Bobcats. If you're wondering who's making all the racket during the story time tonight, it was these two.